Imagine being left for dead in the wild, your body broken and bleeding after a brutal bear attack. You're miles from civilization, abandoned by those you trusted, with no weapons, no food, and no hope. This is the incredible true story of Hugh Glass, a man who defied death, crawling through hundreds of miles of unforgiving terrain with nothing but his iron will and raw determination. But his story didn't end with survival. It became a relentless quest for justice, a tale of revenge, mercy, and the unbreakable spirit of a true frontiersman. Before we get into the true story of Hugh Glass, let's talk about the Revenant. You might know him as the unstoppable frontiersman who fought off a grizzly and crawled across miles of wilderness for revenge. But what you saw in the movie only skims the surface. The real story? It's even more brutal, raw, and unbelievable. Hugh Glass was born in Pennsylvania to Irish parents who had immigrated from what is now Northern Ireland. Much of his life before the infamous bear attack remains shrouded in mystery, and many details of his frontier adventures have been exaggerated over time. One of the more captivating tales suggests that in 1816, Glass was captured by pirates. Glass supposedly spent up to 2 years with the crew before making a daring escape, swimming to the shore near modern-day Galveston, Texas. His life continued to be filled with adventure, as rumors claimed that he was later captured by the Pawnee tribe. He reportedly lived with them for several years, learning their ways and becoming part of their community. In 1821, Glass journeyed to St. Louis, Missouri, accompanying several Pawnee delegates who were invited to meet with U.S. authorities. His life, though clouded with myth and legend, paints a picture of a man who constantly navigated the perilous world of the American frontier. In 1822, General William Henry Ashley placed an advertisement in the Missouri Gazette and Public Advertiser calling for 100 men to join a fur trading expedition up the Missouri River. This ad attracted a group of adventurers who would later become legendary mountain men. These individuals became known as Ashley's 100. Hugh Glass, however, didn't sign up with Ashley's group until the following year. In 1823, Glass journeyed up the Missouri River with Ashley, where they eventually reunited with the men who had joined the expedition in 1822. In June of that year, their group was ambushed by Arikara warriors. During the skirmish, Glass was reportedly shot in the leg. The survivors of the attack retreated downstream, seeking help to continue their perilous journey. Glass and the rest of the Ashley party eventually made their way back to Fort Kiowa to regroup for the arduous journey west. By this time, Andrew Henry, Ashley's partner, had joined the group, and together they set out overland toward the Yellowstone River. As they neared the forks of the Grand River, Glass was scouting for game when he suddenly stumbled upon a mother grizzly bear with her 2 cubs. In a terrifying instant, the massive bear charged at him. Glass tried to fend her off, but the enraged mother bear was relentless. She picked him up with a ferocity that tore through his flesh, slashing and biting, until Glass was left broken and bleeding on the ground. His screams echoed through the wilderness, drawing the attention of his comrades who rushed to his aid. They managed to kill the bear, but the damage had already been done. Glass lay in a pool of his own blood, his body mangled beyond recognition. According to one of the trappers, the bear had torn flesh from the lower half of his body and limbs, and his neck was so badly shredded that it appeared his windpipe had been exposed. Blood flowed freely, yet miraculously his hands and arms remained functional. The men believed there was no chance Glass would survive. Even so, they carried him on a makeshift stretcher for 2 days, but the effort was slowing the group's progress significantly. Realizing the dire situation, Henry asked for 2 volunteers to stay behind with Glass until he passed and then give him a proper burial. John S. Fitzgerald and a man identified only as Bridges stepped forward. As the rest of the party continued on, Fitzgerald and Bridges began digging what they thought would be Glass's grave. However, claiming they were forced to flee from an Arikara attack, the 2 men abandoned Glass, taking his rifle, knife, and supplies with them. When they rejoined the party, they falsely reported that Glass had succumbed to his injuries. But Hugh Glass was far from dead. He awoke to find himself utterly alone, abandoned with no weapons or equipment, his body ravaged by wounds. His leg was broken, and deep gashes on his back exposed bare ribs. Over 200 miles from the nearest settlement at Fort Kiowa, Glass faced an unimaginable ordeal. Determined to survive, he set his broken leg and wrapped himself in the bear hide his companions had left behind as a shroud. With nothing but sheer willpower, he began crawling back to Fort Kiowa, inch by agonizing inch. Glass's wounds festered, and to prevent gangrene, he let maggots feast on the infected flesh. Using Thunder Butte as his guide, he painstakingly crawled southward toward the Cheyenne River. Upon reaching it, he constructed a crude raft and floated downstream to Fort Kiowa. His journey took 6 grueling weeks, during which he survived on wild berries and roots. Against all odds, Hugh Glass had not only survived the brutal bear attack, but had also endured a harrowing journey through the unforgiving wilderness. His story remains one of the most remarkable tales of survival and resilience in American frontier history. After enduring a miraculous recovery from his near-fatal wounds, Hugh Glass set his mind on one thing: revenge. Determined to track down the men who had abandoned him, he embarked on another treacherous journey through the wilderness. His first stop was Fort Henry on the Yellowstone River, but when he arrived, he found it deserted. A note left behind informed him that Andrew Henry and his crew had moved to a new camp at the mouth of the Bighorn River. Upon reaching the new camp, Glass finally confronted Bridges, but instead of seeking the vengeance he had long imagined, something in him softened. Perhaps it was the realization that Bridges was just a young man caught up in a desperate situation. Whatever the reason, Glass chose to forgive him. With his thirst for revenge momentarily quenched, Glass re-enlisted with Ashley's company, ready to resume his life as a frontiersman. Yet one man still haunted his thoughts: John S. Fitzgerald. Eventually, Glass learned that Fitzgerald had joined the army and was stationed at Fort Atkinson in present-day Nebraska. When Glass tracked him down, he faced a dilemma. Killing Fitzgerald, now a soldier, would mean certain death at the hands of the army, but justice still had its day. The army captain overseeing Fitzgerald ordered him to return the rifle he had stolen from Glass. Before leaving, Glass issued a final, chilling warning. As long as Fitzgerald stayed within the safety of the army, he was safe, but if he ever left, Glass would be waiting. In some accounts, Glass also managed to secure $300 in compensation, perhaps a small price for the betrayal he had endured. Though Glass may have chosen mercy over revenge, the tale of his relentless pursuit only adds to the legend of a man who survived the unsurvivable and lived to tell the tale. Hugh Glass's extraordinary life came to a tragic end in early 1833. While trapping along the Yellowstone River, he, along with fellow trappers, was killed in a sudden attack by the Arikara. Despite his incredible survival story, the frontier was unforgiving, and Glass met his fate in the same wild lands that had nearly taken his life before. Today, a monument stands near the site of his infamous bear mauling, on the southern shore of Shade Hill Reservoir. This tribute to his legacy marks the forks of the Grand River, where the nearby Hugh Glass Lakeside Use area now serves as a free state-managed campground and picnic spot, allowing visitors to reflect on the life of one of the frontier's most legendary figures. Thank you for joining me on this voyage through history. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales from the annals of time.